as we go into our players to watch, let's swing it back to Huntington Prep and look at Gonzaga-bound point guard Josh Perkins.
Well, Perkins is a creative and willing passer with excellent court vision. This guy's a pure point guard who likes to set the table for his teammates. He signed with Gonzaga.
Well, we talked about Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles, 6'10", 220 pounds. You know, he's got great hips. And when you have great hips, you can maintain position under the bucket. He's not the biggest, strongest kid, but the base that he plays with reminds me of Alan Henderson, actually the all-time leading rebounder in history of Indiana University basketball. He's that kind of player, that kind of rebounder.
Take a look at the starting lineups on the Huntington Prep side. It'll be Perkins along with Jaquan Lyle, Monte Gil-Caesar, the junior from Canada, Miles Bridges, and Thomas Bryant, the junior from upstate New York. Arsenal Tech, C.J. Walker, Ball State-bound Jeremy Tyler, Michael Jones, Justin Parker, and headed to Kentucky, Trey Lyles.
Hey, let's not forget number 5, Jaquan Lyle, the Huntington Prep's kid from Evansville, Boston, playing his senior year in Huntington.
And he's excited to come back home and play.
So in the blue, it's Huntington Prep. Small school down in West Virginia. And Arsenal Tech in the home white and green.
Huntington Prep is loaded. They have 6 guys ranked in our ESPN rankings. Do they have the cohesiveness to beat Arsenal Tech? They have the talent.
Perkins turns it over on the move. Here come the Titans. That's a good start from Justin Parker, the senior.
If you're going to start a game on national TV and you're in high school, is there a bigger thrill for a kid than to start a game with a breakaway dunk?
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either. But I'm happy for the kid.
Lyle triggers from deep, in and out. Rebound comes down to Bryant, who gets the putback.
All right, Paulie. Now that's the problem with Lyles. Sometimes Trey Lyles gets pushed out of position. Now, I think that Thomas Bryant's as good looking a big guy prospect as I've seen in a while as a junior.
Dan, he's number 15 in the junior class. Bounce, length, skill, number 24 in the blue.
Do these kids get intimidated when you walk in the building?
Why? I'm only 6'2".
I know, but your opinion, the best in the business. And the best in the business walk in the building. Kids know it, and you are the best in this business without question. Not even close. Seriously, and I mean that. I meant that. You know, I read your stuff all the time.
I'll give you 3% for that comment.
It's true. Well, to be fair, we did listen to your radio show while driving around today, so we reciprocated.
Well, I hate to say it, but that is the best in the business.
Rob Fulford, 5th year as the head coach at Huntington Prep. West Virginia native, graduate of Marshall University. On the take, rejection by Bryant.
Not a bad idea, Dan. Huntington Prep in that 2-3 zone. A lot of length and athletic ability.
Hard foul as Perkins drives it.
You said an interesting thing, and we'll talk about the Arsenal Tech coach here in a second.
Jason Delaney, Lafayette Central Catholic, just outside of Purdue's radius.
Yeah, Lafayette Central Catholic, a terrific school. He was a great coach there. Has done a wonderful job here. But Paul, to your point about cohesiveness, here's what you can do in the state of Indiana. You can practice year-round. Now, that's about a 10-year new rule. Used to be you couldn't do anything in the state. Now you can go year-round. You can go to camps. These kids play in leagues. I would venture a guess that Tech High School played in 40 summer games. How many would Huntington Prep have played?
Summer games?
None, right?
None.
Yeah, none. So there is even though they played 13 games at this point, there is a cohesive issue here with a team that's loaded with talent.
Yeah, because the talent plays in all different areas all summer long.
Right.
Jeremy Tyler, the miss, pulled down by Gil-Caesar.
It doesn't become a program, it becomes a team. Arsenal Tech is a program,
right.
And that's the difference.
Absolutely. And one of the things in Indianapolis with the IPS schools, if they don't have basketball, then they can come here and play. And, you know, this is a terrific high school. This is a high school that is well known in the city, has a great tradition and a great history.
We've got 2 teams from 2 different states, West Virginia and Indiana. Here in a high school game, 4 quarters of 8 minutes. Most notably, shot clock.
Dan Dawkins, we want to get your thoughts about that later. I know you want a shot clock in the game.
Absolutely no desire to see high school shot clock.
You just want to see keep away then, huh?
Yeah, I want to see skill.
Go to middle school.
Get in the middle of the zone. That's skill right there.
Mike Jones,
I don't understand why people think that just because one state has a shot clock and another doesn't, Well, what difference does that make? You play your own state tournament. You're not playing a national tournament. So Indiana wants no shot clock. West Virginia wants a shot clock. Who cares?
Well, to add to the strength of your argument, Dan, 42 states don't have one.
Well, there's an expense involved. See, guys like Paul go to games and they want to get out of it. They want a faster pace, more interesting game. I like that. I like skill. There's Trey Lyles on the
But we can have skill in more possessions. We need a national shot clock in the high school game.
That's silly. You don't have a national. There's nothing national about the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana plays the state of Indiana. They don't play the winner of Illinois. They don't play the winner of Texas. They play their own tournament. Do whatever you want within your state.
The only body of basketball in the world that doesn't have a shot clock is USA basketball. Does not have a shot clock.
Makes it unique, makes it fun, teaches kids how to handle basketball, gives coaches more strategy. At some point, we'll get back to the game.
Arsenal Tech, the hometown team in white with the early 6-3 lead. And here's Jaquan Lyle at the free throw line. Number 39 in the ESPN 100, and still considering a whole bevy of schools. Among those, UConn, Memphis, Kansas.
Kansas is in the house tonight. Norm Roberts is sitting on the baseline. I mean, he's the most sought-after point guard in the nation, Dan, when it comes to unsigned players right now.
What we learned this year is high school kids that come from the state of Indiana that commit places don't stay committed. So it doesn't matter where he commits, Lyle. It just matters where he ends up signing.
There's Norm Roberts, from the head coach of St. John's.
C.J. Walker's three in and out. Jaquan Lyle will be making his first official visit to Kansas when they take on K-State in January.
January 11th. Lyle will be there for an official visit. He's made a couple of unofficial visits already, Lyle. Connecticut and Memphis. That was a great pass, Dan. It was really good.
I mean, you don't see young kids that can sit down against the zone and bounce pass. Usually young kids that against the zone raise up. Should have been caught.
First turnover for Arsenal Tech. Huntington Prep has coughed it up 4 times already.
That was Mikey Jones cutting to the basket. I mean, that should have been an assist. No question about it.
Here's Lyle over midcourt.
Arsenal Tech's got their best defender on Lyle.
Lyles comes down with the rebound.
See, this is where he's got to give it up. He's trying to do too much. Get the rebound, get it to the point guard, get into your offense.
Lob to the basket. Bryant there for the tip-in.
Bryant's got a long way to go, but you like what he has. He's long. There's pretty good timing right there. Tipped it in at the top of his jump. Not a long way to go, but just a junior.
How about that, Dan? They keep him inside the zone with Mikey Jones.
Tell you what, playing in the middle of the zone is a real skill. Not everybody can do it. Just because you're a good player doesn't mean you can play in the middle of the zone. And Mikey Jones is doing it right. He's catching, you look shot first, down to your teammate, and then opposite to kick it out. Mikey Jones pretty tough in there.
Bryant lost it. 5th turnover. Stripped away by Gil Caesar. And the ball stays here.
Trey Lyles attacking the offensive glass. Gets a tip in for his team. Tech up 1.
Geico ESPN High School Basketball Showcase is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And T-Mobile. Now your choice is simple. T-Mobile. Unleash.
Might know him from The Hangover, Mike Epps, but tonight he's full of energy, a graduate of Arsenal Tech. They're up 1 with 3:14 to go here in the first quarter. Holiday Hoops continues on Saturday for the Big 12 Conference when the Hoyas head to Lawrence to take on stellar freshman Andrew Wiggins, averaging 16 a game for the Jayhawks. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers, Georgetown versus number 18 Kansas, noon on ESPN. And that Kansas squad, number 1 in the ESPN 100 from last year, Andrew Wiggins. Number 6, Joel Embiid from the ESPN 100 a year ago as well.
That's why they're the 3rd youngest team in the country. I mean, Kansas is a young team, Dan. Everybody thinks how good they are. They're talented. Kentucky's the youngest team in the country. Kansas is right behind them.
You know, to me, Andrew Wiggins is a guy that, and you saw him in high school. He played here. He played at Huntington Prep. Just coolest for the club. You know, just go. If he ever goes as fast as he can go, as hard as he can go, nobody in college basketball plays with offensively.
But I think, like most freshmen, he's thinking too much out in the court, and he's not playing. He's not reading and reacting. He's thinking way too much.
I think Jabari Parker is the best freshman.
Because he came into the college game with the ability to process the game and play at the same time. Wiggins couldn't do that. But he will in time. Just won't be at Kansas, that's all. He'll be in that other league by the time he knows how to play and process the game at the same time.
You can say a lot of things, good, bad, happy, or sad about Wiggins, but one thing you're going to say is he's going to be a rich man. And he's going to have a nice, really long career in the NBA. How good is up to him, but certainly there for him, obviously.
On a drive, Lyle through traffic, puts it off the window.
You know, you just can't, young kids don't understand this. You can't let a guy beat you away from the ball screen.
Underneath the basket, there's Jeremy Tyler. He'll be playing for James Whitford at Ball State. Monte Caesar misses. Over the back, called against Thomas Bryant, the junior.
Jaquan Lyle refuses the ball screen. Little spin move. Squeezes it off. That strong, thick body in the lane.
And he makes a great move, but you have to send the guy to the ball screen. I mean, it's the easiest thing to play. If you're defending the man with the ball, always send him to the ball screen. It's unless you're downing it, if you're playing a different way, but you always send him to the ball screen where you have help. When you go away, when he goes away from the ball screen, he's going to beat you and he's going to beat the help. There it is. Jaquan Lyle, good play.
Perkins goes underneath and inside.
Josh Perkins, 3 in the blue, got that assist. It's just what this team needs. They have size, athletes, scorers. He likes to give up the rock.
Long shot, C.J. Walker, just a sophomore from deep to put Tech up by 2.
C.J. Walker is a kid like Ronnie Johnson, who's playing at Purdue. Ronnie Johnson is a sophomore. Really, really good here in the city of North Central.
Jalen Lindsey from 3.
Jalen Lindsey's going to play for Ed Cooley at Providence.
Ed Cooley's lost over 100 pounds. I know where it went.
He's also bringing in a pretty good recruiting class, too, as that team continues to thrive.
I think he's done an outstanding job in Providence bringing in talent. Now he's got to get that talent to mesh and play cohesiveness, and they got to get a little older. They need some experience on that roster. But Jalen Lindsey, who just made that shot, freak athlete, shoots threes, was the player of the year in the state of Tennessee as a junior.
And so that's a great job of recruiting there because his dad is from Rhode Island, still has family in Providence, and that's how he ends up with the Friars.
Walter Lindsey, family in Providence. Great job by Ed Cooley. Knowing that, establishing that relationship, and bringing a kid from Tennessee, Dan, to Providence, Rhode Island, where there's no Italians.
No, 0.
Good tie-up. Good
That
tie-up.
sends it down the other end of the floor.
Trey Lyles got his hands in the mix.
Against this zone, Trey Lyles is kind of invisible. I mean, he just stands on the right wing, and you're taking the best player on the court and asking him to do that. You got to take the best player on the court. It's not democracy. Basketball is anything but a democracy. You get the ball to the best player in the right spots, and you do it over and over and over again.
3 spots he should be, Dan. High post, low post, short corner.
Absolutely. And standing out on the right wing is great if you look like you or me. But he's the best athlete out here. He needs to. He's a player.
Good athlete, Lyles, headed to Kentucky, made that decision and announcement on his 18th birthday. Tyler misses. Here's Lyle on the run. 1 on 3, and the floater goes.
That's nice. That's smart. That's nice body control.
That's great hands. Trey Lyles with the catch and the finish.
He's turned it over a couple times, but when he shot it 2 for 2, perfect so far. Ties it at 16 and 1 shot here for the Irish.
Dan, he ran from rim to rim, straight line run. He didn't fade out to the 3-point line. That's why he got an opportunity to score the basketball. He's 6'9", 250. He's got to stay in the paint or near the paint.
Perkins had to shoot, and it's in and out. 1 quarter gone. We're tied at 16.
Trey Lyles running the floor, rim to rim. Extends, catches, gathers, and finishes.
Back in Indianapolis, tied at 16 after 1 quarter. That's West Virginia head coach Bob Huggins. His Mountaineers will take on Purdue Sunday at 1 on ESPNU. Off this week with finals and the holidays. Primetime NBA doubleheader tomorrow on ESPN. First at 8, Dwight Howard and the Rockets face a tough road test when they take on Paul George and the Pacers. And then at 10:30, Kevin Love leads the Timberwolves against Pau Gasol and the Lakers. It's NBA Friday, presented by State Farm. It all starts with Kia NBA Countdown at 7. Both games also live on Watch ESPN.
Bob Huggins has been a head coach for 3 decades. You know his record is 710 and 266. That's incredible.
You got a great memory, Paul.
I mean, that's why we have statisticians.
See the guy sitting next to him, though, Jeff Rabjohns, one of the best high school writers. Works for Peegs.com, long time with the Indianapolis Star variety of papers. Just one of the best high school writers in the country.
You want information about this state,
yes,
sports, or Indiana University? Jeff is the guy.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Huntington Prep with the basketball in the hands of Josh Perkins, point guard from Colorado. And they go inside to Levi Cook, who travels, but he's already made his verbal commitment to stay home and go to West Virginia.
Yeah, and that's why Huggins and his assistant Larry Harrison are here. But quite frankly, the first thing Huggins will have to do is get Levi in better shape.
He's sitting about 300 pounds right now. They probably want him 275.
He can't play that. He can't play that heavy. He's a good player, obviously, but
they're also here for Jaquan Lyle. They're involved with him. They're one of the schools on his list. So,
where do you think Lyle will end up going? Give me your take on his top 3 to 4 schools.
Well, from what he's saying, Dan, it's Kansas, Oregon, Memphis, Florida State. Those are the schools that he really likes the most. But
Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame, in-state school, Evansville.
No. But Dan, that's a list that is fluid. That's going to change every week until he makes his decision.
With Indiana kids in this class,
if he doesn't change his mind again,
everything is fluid, right?
He had originally committed to Louisville, decommitted in September.
He committed at 14 years old, just like Trey Lyles. How do you make a decision where you're going to go to school at 14? There's too many factors that can change between 14 and 17. You have kids, you know that.
You're absolutely right. Those that don't know, Trey Lyles, number 41, committed to Indiana University, as you said, as a 14-year-old, and then decommitted over the past summer and ended up signing at Kentucky.
That's Lyles off the mark on the 3. And a foul underneath the basket gives it back to Huntington Prep.
We're not seeing the best of Trey Lyles tonight, 41 in the white. He's settling to me, Dan. He's outside, and he can shoot threes, but he's got to play the game from the inside out. But as far as skill goes in the senior class, he is the most skilled power forward in the senior class.
He wipes the backboard clean, and that sends Tech on the run.
Man, that was a heck of a play by Lyles. He saw it just at the last second and was quick enough and obviously bouncy enough to go block it.
Into the zone, outside for a Tyler 3 to put Arsenal Tech up by a triple.
I like that kid. I think that
he can stroke it.
Yeah, Jeremy Tyler, he's terrific. He's going to Ball State. He'll be a really good MAC player. He'll be a combo guard. He's one of those kids that can just get in the bucket.
James Whitford in the house, the head coach of Ball State.
Monte Gill Caesar to finish his first bucket. It's Tyler again. Perkins rejected on the run by C.J. Walker. The sophomore having himself a pretty good day.
That's a great defensive play. C.J. Walker getting his hand on the basketball, breaking it up. But how about this post feed by Jaquan Lyle? The shot fake, Dan, the post feed, and then one more give up for Techie in the layup. I mean, I love that post feed by Jaquan Lyle.
It's great. He's below the foul line, threw it away from the defense. You don't throw the ball. I'm in a white shirt. My teammate's in a white shirt. You don't throw the ball to your teammate. You throw the ball away from the defense. And it's, again, that's a real skill.
and you bring the ball to the defense if you want to throw it into the play.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of touch passes on that possession. It turns out to be nothing for the Titans. Perkins, nifty move, and contact with Lyles draws a foul.
Josh Perkins, he's got a shifty dribble.
Yeah, just real quick, he reminds me of Matt Carlino, who's having a terrific career at BYU. Kind of they dribble, Carlino left-handed, but they kind of come down the floor the same with their head up. Not the quickest kid, but they get by people. As you said, shifty with the ball. And when they go to make a move, the move is made, meaning one step and they're by you. It doesn't take them 2 dribbles to get by you.
Very efficient player.
Yeah, really efficient.
Gonzaga, Stockton will be gone. The backcourt will be Gary Bell, Kevin Pangos, Josh Perkins. That's a nice backcourt.
Kevin Pangos is like Aaron Kraft at Ohio State's on like a 7-year contract. I think Kevin Pangos is on a 7-year contract. Kind of the Jess Settles from back in the day at Iowa. Some guys seem like they've been there forever.
2019 Huntington Prep back in front. Now 8 different lead changes in this game.
I like the move by Huntington Prep to stay in the zone. Until they can beat it from the outside or get into the teeth of the defense, why not just stay in the zone? There's no question.
I mean, look,
you don't have to guard Trey Lyles one-on-one.
That's what I was going to say. It eliminates, as you said in the open, the best player on the court. This pretty much eliminates 3 or 4 things that he can do. And you know where he is to block him out.
Lyles right now with 5 points and 3 rebounds. And traveling called. Josh Whitfield.
What people don't know about Trey Lyles, and Dan, I know you know this, but he's a really good passer. He's got great instincts and vision to pass the basketball. So not only can he score in the low block and the high post, he can pass and be an assist guy for Kentucky next year.
Foul on the floor. Does he remind you a little bit of another guy who's uncommitted, Miles Turner, who's also a great passer in that aspect?
As big men who can pass, yes, but Miles Turner is elite shot blocker. Good 3-point shooter, good inside guy, but Trey Lyles reminds me of Carlos Boozer. You talk about the hips, not a great athlete, just a good athlete, but really skilled and a good area rebounder. You know, he's not going to go outside his lane and go get something, but he's a good area rebounder, a good passer, and a good skilled power forward.
Lyles getting backed out of the post by Miles Bridges, who grabs the rebound. Gil Caesar along 2. High bounce it in.
Gil Caesar is really good.
You know who he covered last year at Huntington Prep every day in practice?
I'm guessing Andrew Wiggins every day, right?
You guessed it right.
Now, how does that not help you?
Oh, he's improved.
How about that pass? How about that pass? It's just a little touch pass. You know, Larry Bird, they always say about Larry Bird, you see one Polaroid, he used to see one Polaroid ahead. And Trey Lyles right there, a little off balance. Not only had the skill to tip it to his teammate, but had the vision to see it before it happened.
Now it's one iPhone ahead.
One Instagram ahead.
Right. One GIF.
Lyle double team, kicks it out. And Ivan Gandia, the sophomore from Puerto Rico, connects.
I just love the maturity in which Jaquan Lyle plays. Now, if he can get that mature off the court, he could be a very good college player. And he's working his way back to getting the right attitude, to being more mature, and to understand things aren't going to always go his way. And when they don't go his way, he just can't walk away. He's got to stay and fight through some adversity.
I had this conversation yesterday with Conzo Martin, the coach of Tennessee. He said, what do you see as the biggest difference in kids? You know what the biggest difference is, kids? Kids want you to know when they're sad. Like sulking is something that you do now. Sulking never was what you did. Don't sulk, get tough.
Trey Lyles can score the basketball, but he's a terrific passer. The touch pass. Showing the skill level. Dan Dawkins tonight.
It was a nearly tropical day in downtown Indianapolis today. Temperatures getting above 50 degrees here in Indiana. And today we're at Arsenal Tech High School. Capital One Bowl Week kicks off Saturday with a full slate of games. It starts at 2 on ESPN when the Cougars meet the Rams in the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl. 3:30 on ABC. The Bulldogs take on the Trojans. in the Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl. And then at 5:30, it's back to ESPN for the famous Idaho Potato Bowl between Buffalo and San Diego State. And at 9, Tulane faces Louisiana Lafayette in the R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Capital One Bowl Week, Saturday on ESPN and ABC. Get a good look at Trey Lyles today, part of the top high school big men. You look at Jahlil Okafor at number 1, headed to Duke in the number 1 class in the country. The only one left to make his decision, might not be for a couple months, is Miles Turner out of Euless Trinity High School in Texas.
If I need a basket in the low post, I'm going to Jahlil Okafor. If I need someone to block a shot at the end of the game, I'm going to Miles Turner. And if I need someone, Dan, to rebound a basketball, it's going to be Cliff Alexander.
Where will Miles Turner go? What's his list?
He's got 7 schools right now. He's got Duke, he's got Kentucky, he's got Oklahoma State, he has Texas, he has Kansas.
Who's the toughest?
The toughest player in that class?
Who's the toughest player that you know, I mean, obviously that's a tough question, but who's the guy that, you know, hey, if I need something done with grit and toughness, this is the kid I would want?
When he's dialed in, it's Cliff Alexander.
Really?
No question about it.
But you preface it with when he's dialed in.
Well, he's dialed in most of the time. He's got to understand he's not a great scoring front court player. He's a great rebounder, shot blocker, explosive athlete.
Who comes without a caveat?
None of them.
Really? I'm telling you.
No, but Cliff Alexander, if you need something done in a possession, front the post, grab a rebound, block a shot, dive on the floor for a loose ball, I'm going with Cliff Alexander.
Best shooter?
The whole class? Yep. James Blackman or Devin Booker?
Well, James Blackman, to me, is as good as it gets in high school right now.
And Devin Booker's part of that Kentucky class at number 2, an outstanding shooter.
His dad was pretty good, too.
Yeah,
really.
He was the Big 8 Player of the Year when the Big 8 only had 8 teams.
Back in the day.
when the Big 12 had 8 teams.
Yeah, do you have to have a couple different halls of fame? You know, with the Big 8, with the Big 12? Kid's going to be good at Ball State, I'm telling you. Shoot the basketball, Jeremy. Look at this.
Tyler hit the 3, gets the steal, and finishes.
How about that for a back-to-back? Hey, my man here with the steal. This is after he knocks in a 3. Now, I don't know what they listed at, but he's 5'0". But he can fly. That's after a 3, then a steal, then a lob to him, and a dunk. Kid can really, really play.
And his future head coach is in the house tonight, James Whitfield. You know, Ball State.
When you're at Ball State,
there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
I'd be smiling too if I had him.
He's smiling because he's signed.
That's right.
If this was the summertime and there were big time, you know, Kansas or Oregon, whoever's here, you'd be like, man, don't do that. Because then
sprain your ankle.
These bigger schools might
sprain your ankle so nobody can see you.
Fall down. That was a heck of a sequence right there. Jeremy Tyler, really good. And he's doing it in front of the main man here, the king, Paul Biancardi.
Arsenal's got 10 points in this quarter. Tyler has 8 of them. And a backcourt violation. Josh Perkins, the guard from Colorado, turns it over.
That was unforced.
You think?
Understatement, but I just don't know how that happens when you're a senior point guard.
Hey, I don't know how that happens when you're an 8th grade point guard.
Looking for Lyles, tipped away under the basket by Bridges. Another drive and another bucket from Mikey Jones, who's found his living in the middle of the lane today.
Yeah, that's Coach Jason Delaney understands, okay, I've got Trey Lyles, but he may not be as comfortable in traffic. You know, Cody Zeller, Indiana, I never was comfortable in traffic. I played him in the middle of the zone against Syracuse. It was a disaster. You just not. That kid's going to be a nice player as well. That's our guy right there.
Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, number 15 in the ESPN 60, only a junior. From Rochester, New York. Loaded with upside. You know, Dan, he doesn't even know how good he is right now, 24 in the blue. Skilled, athletic.
Just went over Lyles right there.
He plays the game with great effort, urgency. Just took a charge. Come on, call that charge.
You can't call charges now, right? We don't want contact in basketball. That's bad break. That's really bad break.
One too many passes.
Yeah, that needed to be taken to the rim.
Lyle's got the tip. Walker triggers. The lefty misses. And a foul underneath the basket on Jones, who got stuck underneath Miles Bridges.
There's a great saying in basketball. It's called, don't complicate winning. I'll never forget this. Dick Vermeil came in to our locker room one time and gave that saying, and just don't complicate it. Well, it's time to go to the rim, go to the rim. And right here, hey, look, Bridges is going to get the ball here. Pretty nice place. Teammate gets, just go to the rim. You don't even see a defender. Just go to the rim. When the defender comes, dunk on him, stand over him, and then run back down the floor.
Just like you used to teach at Bowling Green.
Always go with the stand-up, just for a second.
After a backcourt violation, last possession by Perkins.
Good call.
Lyle turns it over.
Paul, sometimes the whole slow down and evaluate the defense gets you in trouble. Sometimes you have to know the play, get into the play, bust it down past half court, and let's go. 2 times in a row now we've seen Huntington press. Yeah, they're setting it up. No, go.
Now we got another turnover.
Got a little jitters here. Huntington Prep has turned it over 11 times. Arsenal Tech gives it up.
I don't know if it's jitters, Dan. To me, they're casual.
Right.
Josh Perkins, Jaquan Lyle, they're playing casual basketball. And they're better than that.
Yes, you have 2 choices as a player. You can play hard all the time, or you can be casual and cool. What do you want to be? Real players play hard all the time. Watch LeBron James on defense. Plays hard all the time. Runs the floor, plays hard all the time. Cool is for the play.
Another turnover.
That time he's trying to go too much one-on-one right now. Not so much ball movement.
Coming up at the half, highlights from Duke's win over UCLA. Coach K now 8-1 against the Bruins. We'll take a look at the top SEC recruits in the senior class and first half stats and highlights from the game here in Indianapolis.
See, Dan, driving the ball is great, but reverse the ball, make the defense move, and then go. Driving the ball from a dead stop at the top of the key when the defense is set. Look how good you are.
Great pass.
Dante Gladney, the miss, pulled in by Gil Caesar. 15 seconds here for the blue and gold.
But they don't know it. And they get away with it, but they didn't know it.
The shades of Andrea Bargnani last night for the Knicks. Last shot of the half, drops for C.J. Walker.
That was contested. A little late by Thomas Bryant, but that was 6'9", closing out on 6 feet.
C.J. Walker, only a sophomore, on national TV, at the buzzer, looking like Purdue's Ronnie Johnson. Just knocks it out. That's all. Don't complicate it. Just lift up over 6'9".
Halftime score, Huntington Prep 33, Arsenal Tech 31. When we come back, Bram Weinstein, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams in the studio.
Welcome into the studio with Seth Greenberg and Jay Williams. I'm Bram Weinstein. The boss was in the Garden tonight. True story, Jay was tweeting back and forth with Snooki about other New Jersey legends, and Duke took over the court once again at Madison Square Garden.
No Sinatra?
No, didn't make the list. Against UCLA. Hey, Frank was an old LA guy, too. He loved going out to the West Coast, and Coach K and Steve Alford getting ready to go. 18-15 early when Jabari Parker on the right end there.
Jabari Parker does a nice job of getting behind the defense. Good recognition by Quinn Cook.
How about Rashid Suleiman misses the layup, Kyle Anderson the rebound, Zach LaVine up court, and the Bruins really got it going after the 5-minute mark of the first half.
And Kyle Anderson almost with a triple-double, a.k.a. slow-mo. He never plays fast, always plays under control.
This is how the second half started. Josh Hairston hands it off. Parker for 3. Blue Devils up 3, and it started the floodgates. Here's Suleiman to Parker again.
Terrific ball movement by Duke. The ability to reverse the basketball, get the ball to the high post, room and rhythm jumpers the whole second half.
Well, they got some steals here. Suleiman there to find Parker for the easy 2, 23 and 10 rebounds. Blue Devils run away from the Bruins 80-63. This game was tied at 37 at the half, and the defensive efficiency of Duke in the second half really was the story.
They really picked up. They didn't allow any more straight line drives. Did a good job of being ball you man. And when they gang rebound, when guys like Emil Jefferson get you 8 rebounds, Marshall Plumlee plays some limited minutes, Josh Harrison plays, they're a really good basketball team enforcing the paint.
This was a different second half here, Seth. What did you see from Duke in the second half as opposed to the first?
I thought the second half they did a much better job attacking the zone, especially early in the second half, getting an offensive player behind the defense up into the middle of the zone, then moving the ball from there. Second thing, like Jay said, the ability to contain the basketball. So then all of a sudden you're not in rotations, so you can put a body on someone and block them out. And once you get those stops, now you're in transition. So good offense obviously leads to good floor balance, which takes the team out of defensive transition. And the second thing is the ability not to settle against that zone, to get the ball in the middle, move the basketball, and get the shot you want.
You know, Jordan Adams led this team in scoring coming into this ball game, and Duke did a really good job defensively on him, limiting him to 1 shot per point. So he was 4-10 for 10 points, so a good job limiting him. And also just rebounding the ball. Jabari Parker is a special player.
9th 20-plus point game of the season. It's only December. Second half of the game up next.
We're in Indianapolis tonight. Arsenal Tech taking on Huntington Prep at the half here at Arsenal Tech High School. We welcome you back inside with Paul Biancardi, Dan Dockich, Mike Cousins. Glad to have you along. We've got 7 players in this game tonight who are in the ESPN rankings, Paul. But let's take a look at last year, the #1 recruiting class, this year, #2, and that's what John Calipari has put together at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah, the class this year has 4 players in the top 40. All these guys have a lot of skill. The biggest recruit is Carl Towns Jr., 7'1" and highly skilled. Likes to run the break, give it up in transition, and get it back. He can score in the low post, but he prefers to face the basket and operate from the high post.
Well, I love this kid. I think Trey Lyles is as good a forward, catching the ball, finishing, and as you said, skill. You see the pass there, that's his recognition. He'll run, very good shooter. I think in college he'll be a 3-point shooter. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't right now. But I think in college he will be. Look at this play right here. Catches, stays down, finishes. He's a guy well taught by his father.
Now, a guy who can shoot the rock. One of the best shooters in the class, Devin Booker. He's got great size, 6'5" and strong. Every time he shoots the ball, he's on balance. His shoulders are square, his feet are pointing to the rim. Not only a 3-point shooter, but a mid-range shooter as well. He won the 3-point shooting contest this past summer at the Under Armour Elite 24.
Here's a look at the entire SEC. Anthony Grant has some in-state guys. Kevin Stallings has his backcourt of the future. What stands out to you?
Well, to me, it's Florida. They have a class of Brandon Francis and Chris Chioza, one of the best passers in the class. But you mentioned Alabama. They brought in a class of guys that can really shoot the basketball. And when you look at Vanderbilt standing at 29, Riley LeChance, remember his name, Dan. He's a shooter and a playmaker coming from Wisconsin down to Vanderbilt.
I want to ask you, I was doing the Tennessee game last night. You mentioned you love their class.
I do. I love Phil Kofer. A lot of energy and athletic ability. And an undersized power forward. That's a good group going to Tennessee next year.
We'll take a look more at stats and highlights coming up. Huntington Prep taking on Arsenal Tech here in the heart of Indiana. You're watching the Geico ESPN High School Showcase. We're at Arsenal Tech High School in Indianapolis. Paul Biancardi, Dan Dockich, Mike Cousins, glad to have you along for a 2-point game at the break. Arsenal Tech with a win earlier this month over Huntington Prep. Let's take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Geico. A lot of turnovers in this first half.
But too many turnovers for Huntington Prep. Jaquan Lyle and Josh Perkins, top 50 players in the country. They have 4 and 3 turnovers respectively. Too many.
Yeah, it's too many. And then when you look at the production, Trey Lyles, I think for Indianapolis Tech to win this game, he's going to have big second half.
Huntington Prep playing that 2-3 zone. It's difficult to find Lyles because he's staying outside in the zone. He's got to get to the middle a little bit more.
Well, Rob Fulford, the head coach for Huntington Prep, said he had no problem switching up the defense to try and stop Trey Lyles, whether it was a box and 1, triangle and 2, and so far it's been that zone.
See, sometimes you need a little help from your teammates. And again, throw the ball away from the defense, not to your teammate.
They were in man-to-man that possession,
Yes.
Huntington Prep. So here's that concept of changing the defense.
That was the 22nd turnover between the two teams. Nearly another one for Huntington Prep. They go inside Gil Caesar. They'll head to the free throw line. Just about 35 seconds in here to the third quarter. They'll play 4 here in Indiana high school basketball. 8-minute quarters. Last week we saw in Minnesota long halves as Apple Valley took on Whitney Young from Chicago. And no shot clock. Only 8 states across the country play with a shot clock. First is good for Gil Caesar. They call him Techie, which I guess is easier than Montaque, spelled M-O-N-T-A-Q-U-E.
He's an interesting prospect because right now he's in the class of 2015, but Dan, he could reclassify and move up to 2014 and make a decision by the end of the spring.
That's what Andrew Wiggins.
Exactly.
Andrew Wiggins should be a senior in high school right now, correct?
Yes.
I think that's proved to be the right decision so far for him.
He's doing all right.
Well, he did wonders, too, for Huntington Prep's recruiting and Rob Fulford to basically pave the way and say, look, it's okay for the #1 player in the country to go to a school enrollment 140.
Another blueberry turnover.
Yeah, and it missed by just a little outside. Like it missed by 8 feet.
Oh, a major league turnover gives it back to Huntington Prep. 4-point game, a minute in here to the third quarter. Gil Caesar again on the kick out. Jalen Lindsay off back iron. Down to C.J. Walker, the sophomore, who had himself a good first half. All-State bound Jeremy Tyler pulled. And Lyles soared in.
Lyles does, and he hangs in the air. You know, sometimes on TV, but look, he just hangs it. And gets called for the foul, but if you're going to get called for a foul, what the heck? That's a good one.
That's a great one.
See, I think they bring it up too slow. I think Huntington Prep brings it up too slow and tries to get into these sets.
Bounce pass, right block, and a bucket. Finding Lindsay again.
Shows you the instincts of #5 in the blue, Jaquan Lyle. The ability to post up, catch, face, and then make a pass inside the paint game. That's difficult to do.
I like down here what Huntington's doing. You talked about Lyle. Jaquan Lyle. Well, Jaquan Lyle went on the block, made a nice pass. Earlier, Caesar went on the block a couple times. They have a mismatch there, whether it's against Tyler or against Mikey Jones. And first, here again, they're trying to get Lyle on the block.
And he turns it over into the hands of Tyler. Up ahead to Walker, who kicks back. The three's not there. Now Jones. On the move. Lyle gets double teamed. Nice look there. The far corner for Gil Caesar.
Somebody's going to get that kid either in this class or the next class, and they're going to get a heck of a ball player. And a competitive guy as well in Caesar.
And a great extra pass by 3 in the blue, Josh Perkins. I mean, he made that extra pass real quick so Gil Caesar can get an open shot.
Jason Delaney takes a timeout to stop a 7-0 run. Trey Lyles for Arsenal Tech.
Look at the extension and the secure hands to catch the basketball and gather himself in the conversion game. The shot fake, Dan, shows the ball high, keeps the bottom down low. The defender goes past him, shows him the basketball, gathers and finishes. That's 6'9", 250, and fluid.
Yeah, so many kids get in such a hurry. You know, and you showed it. The lower you play, the better you play. It's almost that simple. Play low, play well. Play upright, play poorly, make turnovers, travel, stumble around.
Part of the difference today for Arsenal Tech, they picked up a 3-point win against Huntington Prep back on the 7th. In that game, Lyles had 22 points, 14 rebounds. Today, just 5 points. Jones, top of the key 3. Not just a 6-point game.
Tell you what, Mikey Jones plays in the middle of the zone, did a good job in the first half. Now he comes out, handles the ball, plays on the perimeter, knocks a three, and he's done a pretty good job of defending Jaquan Lyle.
He had 14 points in their victory against Huntington Prep last time they played a couple of weeks ago. A good X factor, third scorer for this team.
Thomas Bryant called for the offensive foul on Huntington Prep. He's from Rochester, New York, not far away from Syracuse University, one of the schools on his list, but says, he told me this afternoon, I don't really like cold weather. Might be a problem in the snow capital of America. But one of his high school teammates, Chinoso Aboko, is a freshman there at SU right now.
Then if I'm Florida or Florida State, I'm going to start recruiting right now.
Alabama, let's go.
December low, 50 degrees. Lyle on the move from deep, short.
Yeah, Lyle was on the move and he shot it, went left.
Tyler. That's tipped off. Basket interference, the basket counts.
Ball's on the rim. You can't touch it.
Any part of the ball goes on the rim. People complain about goaltend all the time. It doesn't matter. Any part, and there was the front part of the ball on the rim, it's goaltend.
And that's discipline, Dan. He's got to pull his hands off and see where the ball lands.
Basket credited to number 22, Jeremy Kyle for the Titans on the goaltender foul.
Lyles tips it away using all of his 6'10 frame to force a turnover. Walker a fearless take and the bucket. A chance to pull to within one.
Now that's a terrific offensive play. Walker had an exact line that we were on, and you saw the C's part here. Watch this, but here's the deal defensively. First rule of thumb is what? Stop the basketball. How do you do that? You communicate. There's not one, not two, not three, not four, but five guys back for Huntington Prep. And this is what you were talking about early, Paul. Lack of communication because these kids are kind of thrown together and it takes a while to become a team.
Well, they turned it over and then they put their heads down and got frustrated. Meanwhile, Arsenal Tech was just driving it right up their back.
And Dan, I know you like that comparison with C.J. Walker and Ronnie Johnson at Purdue. Similar, they drive that same way.
They do. They drive. They can finish. You know, when you're a little guy in basketball, you have to be a really good layup shooter. Like, you have to have different spins, different arcs on the ball, and Ronnie Johnson is, and so is Walker.
Bryant, offensive foul as he tries to bull his way in. 1-point game in Indianapolis. Right now, the Hoosiers stayed a 1-point lead for Huntington Prep out of West Virginia over hometown Arsenal Tech with 3:55 to play third quarter. Holiday Hoops continues on Saturday for the Big 12 Conference when the Hoyas head to Lawrence to take on stellar freshman Andrew Wiggins and the Jayhawks. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Georgetown versus 18th ranked Kansas Saturday at noon on ESPN as Kansas tries to break out of a little funk, having dropped 3 of their last 5. How about a game tonight for Jabari Parker, number 9 game this year where he scored at least 20 points, rising up the ranks among Duke freshmen to do that.
From high school, he came out as the most complete player. When you saw Randall, Gordon, Wiggins, Parker is the most complete offensive player, and it's showing now in the middle of the season.
I don't think he's going to slow down out of the conference season.
But then you know what happens? All the freshmen hit what? That mental wall. There's going to be a point somewhere where all those freshmen are there physically, but mentally, they're out of it.
You know, Parker to me, for whatever the reason, seems to have a different mentality. You know, I saw him at AAU and his parents have a good vibe on. You know, they just, I don't know. I'll be surprised if he slows down. I think maybe the others will, particularly the post kid at Kentucky, Randall. They'll be double teamed, that kind of thing. But a whole bunch brighter than we've seen.
First lead of the half right now for Arsenal Tech. Jalen Lindsey, the senior out of Tennessee, signed his letter of intent to Providence back in July. And Paul, let's go back to the first matchup this year between these two teams, December 7th. Huntington Prep had a big lead. They were up 12 in the third quarter, and they ended up losing by 3. Now tied here with 3:19 to play, but the turnovers have really hurt Huntington Prep.
Turnovers, poor decisions, playing a little casual, and that could come back to haunt them in this game as well.
Whoa. Jones takes it again. And what a finish. Jeremy Tyler is having an impact from all over the floor tonight. 14 points.
Well, they put Mikey Jones in the middle of the floor, and he's been able to get to the rim. And because he's been able to get to the rim, it opens up the offensive glass, and Jeremy Tyler, you're going to see here, look at him just on a dead sprint. Nobody put a box out. Jeremy Tyler with terrific instinct.
You got Tyler at 6'3", 160, going past Levi Cook at 6'10", fill in the blank, maybe 285, 300 there. No box out.
He didn't go past him. He went over him.
There's a lot of high major kids out here, but Jeremy Tyler, to me, has been the best player on the court.
Sometimes when guys are high major, it's their upside.
Right.
Jeremy Tyler's productive.
Lyle doesn't get the roll. He's still at 5 points. Right now, Arsenal Tech in the midst of a 12-1 run coming out of halftime.
The Miami Heat do this. The Miami Heat 2 years ago, getting in the finals, winning their first championship, spread the floor, put LeBron James in the middle of the floor, and basically said, let's go. Last 3 possessions, that's exactly what Tech has done. 2 times with Mikey Jones, resulting in buckets, and then here with Trey Lyles, which results in free throw. You know, again, basketball isn't that hard. It's your best player to ball in the middle of the floor, spread it out, and good things are pretty much going to happen.
Trey Lyles, the all-time leading scorer and rebounder here at Arsenal Tech.
There has been Landon Turner, who unfortunately had a car accident, would have been the first player picked in the 1982 draft. Was the most, I guess Isaiah was the most outstanding player in '81, but he was second. National championship. Joe Sexton, Mr. Basketball, great player here. Frank Kendrick, NBA player, one of Purdue's all-time best of all played here at Tech.
Joe Sexton, a 1952 grad. 12 years the head coach is Butler.
Dan, let me ask you this. Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. Trey Lyles, James Blackman Jr., Trayvon Blewett. Who do you think will get it?
I think Blackman will be Mr. Basketball. For a variety of reasons. There's always an IU factor here in the state. It just is. I mean, Indiana, the state's called Indiana. You're going to IU. He's having a monster year. He's going to be, if he's not going to be the leading scorer in the state, then Trayvon Blewett is one Xavier is. But I think Blackman is the best player in the state, and I think he'll be Mr. Basketball.
They're going to play each other. Tech and Marion High School Monday night. James Blackman against Trey Lyles here Monday night.
Lyles the take, leaves it just short for Arsenal Tech. Down by 4, Huntington Prep on the move, and Gil Caesar with a double dribble. So Indiana Mr. Basketball, if you win this award, chances are you're destined for something pretty good.
Yeah, how about this? This is how the competition in Indiana is. Gary Harris you see in 2012, and then Zach Irvin, same high school. The first round of the tournament's called the section here in the state of Indiana. Couldn't get out of section. Couldn't win. Won 1 game. Gary Harris 2.5 quarters. How about my man Tyler?
He does it again, soaring in from behind to get his total up to 16, stretching Tech's lead to 6.
A lot of ranked players on the floor. Jeremy Tyler is the best player right now on the floor.
Look at this. I mean, you said it earlier. There's a difference between a team and a program. And because of the rules, because of what kids in Indiana can do, play all summer long with your high school team, they won't fall apart. Well, because Huntington Prep, as talented as they are, brings kids from all area. Right now, they're in the middle of falling apart.
And Tech plays, year after year with the same guys. When they graduate, Huntington Prep brings in guys for a year, maybe 2.
How about that move by the sophomore?
The momentum continues to grow now for Tech. They're lead at 8. Huntington Prep is without a field goal more than 4.5 minutes.
So look where the ball is, middle of the floor. Everybody spread out. That has been Jason Mulaney's modus operandi this entire half. Forget the jump shot. Spread, take your man, and go.
C.J. Walker, he started as a freshman last year, number 11 in the white.
Tell you what, he's doing some talking too. I mean, he's organizing.
Gandia, just a sophomore, brings it over midcourt. 60 seconds to go in the quarter. And a wild look there from Perkins does not drop.
You know, Hoosiers, 4 passes, fellas, 4 passes, right? Huntington Prep hasn't made 4 passes in the last 5 possessions. They barely made 2. That was a 1 pass, me against you drive, and it's just not going to go.
Here's where the shot clock comes into play again. This possession started with about 50 seconds left. They could draw it all the way down if they want to, but instead, Lyles dumps off for partner, his senior classmate.
You see how fluid 41 in the white is, Trey Lyles, the ability to handle behind the three-point line, get into the paint, and dump it off. Now, you don't want him doing that every possession, but he can do it.
Huntington Prep rattled right now. Down by 10, and Arsenal Tech will have plenty of time here to stretch that lead heading into the 4th quarter.
Huntington Prep tried to do what Tech was doing, spread it and get the ball to Caesar. Problem is, Bryant can't shoot, so Lyles stayed in the lane.
Mikey Jones rejected, and that ball bounced on the baseline. You got half a second left. They might add a little bit more.
Nice inside-out dribble by Jones. Looks like he got fouled.
I was watching the swat. That was a
Got him with the body underneath, Dan. Come on.
Da-da-da, da-da-da, and the swat.
22 seconds after the clock.
Sports Center coming your way next, 11 Eastern after this game is over.
Roll it up. You got time for a catch and shoot.
Good if it goes, but it's just short from Jeremy Tyler. A 20-1 run in the last 5.5 minutes to close the quarter. Arsenal Tech looking good heading to the 4th. Plenty of college coaches on hand. Bob Huggins here to see a few guys, including Levi Cook. James Whitford, head coach at Ball State of the MAC. 2 of his commits on hand here today. And Norm Roberts, an assistant for Bill Self at Kansas. A 21 run for Arsenal Tech in that 3rd quarter. They're up by 10 here as we go to the 4th. And coming up, it's a primetime NBA doubleheader tomorrow on ESPN. First at 8, Dwight Howard and the Rockets on the road and take on Paul George and the Pacers, who look to bounce back from a loss against the Heat. 10:30, Kevin Love leads the Timberwolves against Pau Gasol and the Lakers. NBA Friday presented by State Farm. It all starts with Kia NBA Countdown at 7. Both games also live on Watch ESPN.
I'll tell you this, Paul George and the Pacers are legit. It's going to be fun, not only in the regular season, but hopefully in the playoffs, them and the Heat.
Foul on the quick take by Perkins. We're here at Arsenal Tech High School with Paul Biancardi, Dan Dockich, Mike Cousins. Dan, a 21 run there to close out that 3rd quarter for Arsenal Tech.
Yeah, not a timeout called by the Huntington coach, which, you know, sometimes guys that coach and have big records because of great talent, they kind of act like they invented the game. I mean, at some point on a 20-1 run, you might get a timeout. When you've got no baskets in the last 5.5 minutes, I mean, a timeout, they have them there for you to use, not to take home with you.
So you're saying James Naismith would have called a timeout?
I'm saying that a lot of people would have called a timeout sometime during a 20-1 run.
Both Mikey Jones and Jeremy Tyler have had great games today for Arsenal Tech. Trey Lyles, the drive and the finish.
You're not coming from West Virginia into Trey Lyles' gym and flopping and getting a call.
No double. They need to run a double at him, get the ball out of his hands. Short corner, mid-post, turn and face. It's automatic for Trey Lyles.
Lyle, the senior, at the top of the key. Evansville, Indiana native with a triple. And then finally gets a ball in the basket for Huntington Prep.
That's a good player. That's a kid that can do a lot of things with a terrific body. There's a double.
but the body's a little thick and heavy still.
I think so.
He's got to get rid of thick and
There's your double, and Lyles made a great play, but right back at him from the other line. There's your timeout.
Rob Fulford with his team down 8 stops the clock. 6:43 to go here in the fourth. You know, Trey Lyles hasn't done a lot of scoring today. They've doubled him in the post, but he has done a good job passing out.
Well, right there. I mean, look, there's a lot of things that have to happen when a team posts doubles. You know, guys have to cut. You can't stand. You can't just stand there and watch it. Justin Parker, well, this is where Lyles goes to the rim. The next possession, they do double, and Justin Parker makes a nice cut to the basket.
6:43 to go in the fourth. If you're on Twitter, use hashtag AskCoachB. So who's the leader in the recruitment for Jaquan Lyle, the senior from Evansville, Indiana?
And I talked to him today. He doesn't have a leader, but he does have a list of schools. Connecticut, Memphis, Kansas, Florida State, West Virginia, Bob Huggins in the house, Providence, and Oregon. Now, he does have a visit set up to Kansas, January 11th. And he told me today, I want to take a visit to Florida State and Oregon. So that would leave him, Dan, with 2 more visits to go out of the rest of that group.
And remember, he originally committed to Louisville and then decommitted, opening that process back up. Lyle, contact from Bryant, and the ball stays here with Arsenal Tech.
Both guys that have tried to guard Lyles, whether it's Bryant here, you're going to see he's giving an angle. You can't give a great player an angle. My shoulders have to square to his shoulder. You give a great player an angle, he's going to get a bucket, fouled, or both.
The stance was too open.
Yeah, you can't. They did that earlier. The big kid Cook gave him an angle. Lyle's too skilled to give an angle to him. That's twice on the inbound. And Walker's throwing it away. I love it, but throw the ball to your teammate.
Guy in the blue shirt
is not his teammate.
Plenty of turnovers in this one. Jaquan Lyle the drive, and he makes his own miss.
There it is. He not only made his own miss, but he made Trey Lyles disappear. He was just bigger and stronger and wanted it more than Trey Lyles. That was a impressive play by Jaquan Lyle.
That's a hard foul, and a strong finish from C.J. Walker.
The smallest guy on the court, C.J. Walker. What a big-time finish. He's not afraid to. Look at his eyes are up. His head is up. Stays in the play. And has a chance for a three-point play.
You see him make a little move into the defender. That's savvy right there. If you get an Indiana kid, I'm telling you, I've been and you've been all over. There are no kids, I'm telling you, in the country that think basketball like Indiana kids. I mean, Huggins has one, Aaron Harris. Aaron Harris is leading scorer. Aaron Harris was, you know, a second-tier recruit coming out of high school, but he's an Indiana kid. They go play well in college.
Tyler running. Walker hangs on to it, and they'll reset the possession. Walker's got 14 today. That's got to be a guy who's happy there's college coaches in the gym. Lyles is fouled, hacked on the way up by Bryant, the junior.
From this angle, I thought he should have just went straight up, try to flush it. Yeah. They try to go to the other side. I think Trey Lyles goes to the other side of the rim just a little too much. Right there, just go straight up. Just try to dunk it. Was he a little deep? Go to the other side.
You know what's amazing? This is a 9, soon to be 10 or 11-point game. And even though the little state of Indiana doesn't have a shot clock, the fellas are still going up and down and playing.
Dan, the game needs a shot clock.
No, the game doesn't. High school does not need a shot clock.
There's no flow. Tonight there is a flow. But you go to Southern Indiana, it's 36-32 final scores.
When's the last time you've been to a game in Southern Indiana?
Last week.
Okay. Okay.
Paul Biancardi hanging out in Evansville.
A little stop in Corden. Maybe something in Clarksville. On your way to New Albany.
You'll get more people in the stands with a higher possession game. Yes, you will.
No chance. Doesn't make any difference in Indiana. I don't know about other states. Like I said, there's not a national federation or national tournament. So do what you want to do in your own state.
Josh Perkins, the take, breaks up a string of 7 straight points scored by Jaquan Lyle.
Tell you what, that Corden-Borden game down in Southern Indiana, you tell me that's not high.
Right behind the defense, Jeremy Tyler pulls in the long pass. 10-point lead for Arsenal Tech. They're trying to make it 2 wins in about 2 weeks here over Huntington Prep.
I like the pressure by Huntington Prep, but they have no one protecting the basket. When you press full court, you have to have someone protecting the basket.
It's first and foremost, right? I mean, just don't give up a layup. Press all over you want, but don't give up a layup. Jeremy Tyler, you mentioned Lyles going under the basket. Jeremy Tyler, last possession, really good job doing that. You're right. Same side, lay it in, be strong.
There's a time to go ball side. There's a time to go under the basket.
Well, we got a foul down at that end, but Trey Lyles goes down, clutching his left knee. Behind the knee as well.
He's rubbing his calf muscle. Maybe just a cramp, we hope. He got up quick. That's a good sign.
Very good news.
Let's see what happens here. And Paul's been saying it. Look, right here, you just go straight up. Put 2 hands on the glass. Don't complicate it. Comes down. Let's see how it comes down.
Yeah, he's holding that left calf. Might have strained it. Cramped up. A little Gatorade.
He has had a great fourth
Salt
quarter.
pills back in the day. I remember my dad taking salt tablets.
He's a good-looking prospect. Trey Lyles. I love his skill level, passing instincts.
But wouldn't you agree? Last 5 minutes, the other Lyle has been the best player on the floor. He's gone to the rim. He's kind of dominated around the basket.
Between both of them, yes, but the best player in the court's been C.J.
Right.
Walker and Jeremy Tyler.
No question, right. Throughout the entire game. But I think late here, Quan Lyle's been dominant.
Jaquan Lyle on defense, number 5 in blue. 10 points this quarter, looking for 2 more. And he's headed to the free throw line.
He's been in a stance. Now, it looks like conditioning's a bit of an issue for him, but man, oh man, he's done it all this quarter.
Jaquan Lyle in a stance. He picks that crossover, gets on the floor, gets up. Doesn't have a lot of speed. He beats you with that size, Dan. He gets you on the hip, the shoulder, and then it's contact city from there.
You know, like going on right now, J.C. Delaney is all over his sophomore point guard Walker for being too slow. And guess what, kids? Walker isn't sulking. He's mad at himself. I would be surprised if Walker does anything slow again for this game. He went too slow. Lyle took him. The coach got all over him. His head's up. You see him right there, and he's ready to go. Nobody wants to see you salt, ever. Nobody cares if you salt.
Nice skip pass.
Right to the rim. Didn't salt.
Nice bounce back there for C.J. Walker, the sophomore. Arsenal Tech up by 5 with 3:54 to play.
Don't salt, ever.
Geico ESPN High School Basketball Showcase is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hoosier State Capitol Building and perhaps the basketball capital of the country, Indianapolis, Indiana. We're at Arsenal Tech High School. The Titans looking for another win here over Huntington Prep. They lead at 61-56. Here's tonight's game track brought to you by Buick. C.J. Walker having a nice game for Arsenal Tech. Trey Lyles as well with 10 points and 5 boards. You look at that third quarter, Arsenal Tech 20-8. They outscored Huntington Prep at one point, a 20-1 run. They're up 61-56 here in the fourth quarter. Joe Sexton, 1952, Mr. Basketball here in Indiana, helping them get that sectional regional semifinal. Here's a look at the shot clock. Paul Biancardi, Dan Dockich, go at it.
Dan, take a look at that. The pace of the game has to improve. You're playing keep away right now. With a shot clock, you'll have more flow. You can guard for 35, 40 seconds. Let me finish. Coaches can influence the game. You can have baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, and the players become more skilled because everybody gets to touch the basketball if there's a shot clock.
I love you. I've known you for a long time. But that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I don't care what guys from John Lucas's academy, let's say high school basketball, texting you, oh, Dockage needs to do college games. No, I don't. I go to high school games. I go to 3 a week darn near. And I'm telling you, in the state of Indiana, I don't care what other states do. High school basketball has great flow. You're seeing it here tonight. There's terrific coaches. Guys get down the floor, and there's spectacular players in this state. So maybe other states do. Good for them. Jason, not this state.
Jason Delaney, the head coach at Tech, says he'd love to have a shot clock.
Good for him. Good for Jason Delaney. Who cares what Jason Delaney wants?
Jaquan Lyle finishes. Well, what about
and then you get 20 other coaches that say they don't. I mean, I'm on Twitter and everybody, Dan Stick keeps saying that.
Last point. Every kid I talk to wants a shot clock. The game's about the kids.
The game? Okay, fine. Then don't play. Go play somewhere else when there's a shot clock. Go to a state where there's a shot clock. You play in the state of Indiana. They already pretty much destroyed state of Indiana basketball with a class tournament. So now put a shot clock in, everybody stay at home because they'll say it's the NBA. I'm not saying every other state. I'm just saying the state of Indiana. That's it. Maybe other states, not this state.
You watch Hoosiers too much. You watch Hoosiers too much. The movie. You're living in the dark ages, my friend.
Why? There's only 8 states that have it.
Tip back up and in.
There's 42 that don't. John Lucas Academy.
Monte Caesar with the tip up and in. 3-point game, 2:47 to go. Jaquan Lyle has really turned it on here down the stretch. He's got 16 points.
He's been the best player here. He's been the best player in this gym. Jaquan Lyle has both inside, outside, offensive rebounds. Nobody's been able to keep up the bucket. That was Caesar right there. But Jaquan Lyle has been spectacular, and this is a heck of a game, shot clock or no shot clock.
Lyle, 16 points here in the fourth quarter, 22 for the game. Again, Huntington Prep trying to avoid going 0-2 here against Arsenal Tech. They played back on December 7th. That was a tough day for both of those teams playing at the Marshall County Hoop Fest in Kentucky. They had to play twice in one day. Both of them did because of bad weather.
It's the easiest thing to do in high school. Indiana State tournament used to be you play a morning game and you play at night. And I did that six times, I can't remember. The night game was always so easy to play. And people ask me why. Every guy that played in it will tell you that. I don't know why. You lose, you play. It's amazing to me.
Huntington Prep's got to bring pressure here. Being applied at the other end by Justin Parker.
That was well coached right there. You know, trap came, find a man in the middle. No shot, no down. He looked opposite. Three-pointer went in. Really, really well coached.
Lyle with the ball and 2:15 to play here in the fourth quarter. Into traffic, taken away. Here with the lead, Arsenal Tech building their advantage on a drive by C.J. Walker.
Love that guy, number 11 in the white. Only a sophomore. Put him on your recruiting list.
Lyle's contested. He helps force a miss. And a back tip called a foul. Perkins snuck in behind, and that gets a whistle.
The trap comes by Huntington Prep, Dan. A little Syracuse attack the top.
How good is that? I mean, just fine. And again, as a coach, you put the guys in the right spot. Really good three-point shooter right there in the corner, and he's open in the middle.
Not one dribble in that possession. 2 passes and a wide-open shot.
And not one need for a shot clock. They kept playing.
Why don't we just play no dribbles, too?
No dribble is the best thing a coach can do. You know what I mean? You need to know that. I mean, play no dribble, and your team gets better offensively. Your ex-boss said it. A judicious use of the dribble, Rick Majerus. I'll never forget it.
Tremendous teacher of the game.
This lead has fluctuated here for Arsenal Tech, but they've stayed in front throughout the quarter. Up by 10. Lyle's floater, he missed it. Ball stays with the Irish, the blue and gold. 1:34 in the fourth.
Now if you're Huntington Prep. You just got to man up right now, Dan, quick trap, and then foul right away. And if you're Arsenal Tech, you can just hold the basketball because there's no shot clock. Let's just play keep away, guys.
Takes skill to do it.
Oh, it doesn't.
Takes coaching to do it. Got to put the guys in the right spot. You just saw it. Into the middle and out to the corner.
The foul wasn't intentional, but Jaquan Lyle just ran right over the top of Mikey Jones, so he stops the clock with 1:25. But it didn't look like Huntington Prep was fouling intentionally there.
And they should have in the backcourt. No question. The clock's the enemy right now, not your opponent, and not the score.
You know, if you lose by 10 or you lose by 20, what's the difference?
10.
Very good. See, Salem State taught you things that Indiana never taught me.
Well, we played for some good coaches now. You played for Bob Knight, and I played for Tom Thibodeau.
Thibodeau at that time, all defense all the time, and he couldn't have been much older than me.
No, only a couple of years. And game day, shell drill, taking charges, diving on the floor for the loose ball. On game day.
Love it.
That's why I played. Everybody else is hurt.
Huge game for Mikey Jones, the senior, only averaging 10, but today has been a big scorer for Arsenal Tech.
Just another part of his game, Jaquan Lyle. The ability to post and score inside. That was beautiful.
Lyle 7 of 9 from the field here in the fourth quarter.
You want to exploit the mismatch inside. Jaquan Lyle, bigger than most guards. He has that ability to post up, seal, and score.
Don't forget, after things wrap up here in Indianapolis, Sports Center coming your way next. And it's Jones at the free throw line again. Dan, they used him in a variety of ways today, especially in the middle of that zone in the first half.
He did not allow Huntington to do their game plan. Their game plan was to play zone. And Mikey Jones, really good in the middle of the zone. And he kept doing what he does, which is break it down. And next thing you know, Huntington had to go man-to-man.
Jason Delaney, the head coach of Tech, putting Jones in the middle is the right move. Sometimes you want to put a playmaker in the middle of that zone, not always a big guy.
Right.
Like you talked about with Cody Zeller. He didn't look comfortable in the middle of that zone. But when you put Jordan Hulls in there, you can make some plays and make some shots.
Doesn't matter the size, you're absolutely right.
Trey Lyles falls on the loose ball, calls a timeout for Arsenal Tech. You look at the two rosters coming into this game. Huntington Prep has 6 guys either in the ESPN 100 or Super 60. Arsenal Tech has Trey Lyles and a lesser-known supporting cast. And it's been those cast members today that have really carried this Tech team.
Well, I love the job that Jason Delaney does with his team here at Tech. You know, they're connected to him. And here's how you can tell. When he gets on him, and he's getting on him still a little bit, they look right at him. Their head goes up and down. It doesn't go sideways. It doesn't sulk. And their body language as a team has been fantastic throughout this entire game.
I went to practice yesterday, and then Coach Delaney did film after. These kids at Arsenal Tech, they buy in.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. You can have all the talent you want, but unless your team buys in, you're not going to win.
And when it gets exposed, there's always a breaking point during the game. You know, we're a more talented team. Oh, man, what? This isn't supposed to happen. And I thought that came at a couple different times during this game. And quite frankly, Indianapolis Tech, more organized, more together, better culture, got the win.
Justin Parker is shooting the free throws. Huntington Prep continued to force the fouls here.
Justin Parker hit a pretty big shot a few minutes ago from the corner. Good for him.
Paul, let's look back at our ESPN 100 guys here tonight. Trey Lyles at number 7. Jalen Lindsey, number 73. Thomas Bryant, the Super 60. Josh Perkins, number 38. Who do you think of the guys who are in the rankings had the best game tonight?
I would say Jaquan Lyle. I mean, you know, you guys don't know this, but he was a top 20 player at one time. But because of some off-the-court situations, you know, he got dropped because it becomes a point in a time when you have to factor in somebody's traits into the evaluation. It's just not all about talent. It's about upside, it's about production, and it's about what you do off the court. And he got dropped, but I think tonight he showed us he's really a complete guard.
That's why I said at the start of the broadcast, in my opinion, and I coached AAU for 4 years, had a son coming through it, and I paid attention to all the scouting services. You are by far the best for not only players to respect, but coaches to get input from, because as you just said, you factor those things in. You do, and that makes you the best, and you put your heart and your soul into it. And you coach, so you know what to look for. A lot of guys don't know what to look for.
And you used to beat me all the time when we played.
No, you came into Bowling Green and shot 8,000%. And made me go home and
eat pizza.
Yeah, eat pizza till 3 in the morning and weep openly.
But the one thing about Jaquan Lyle, his game is mature, and I really believe that he's starting to mature as a person, a young man off the court.
Well, he better. You know, he better. He's been given a gift. I mean, all right, let me ask you, an in-shape Jaquan Lyle, are there how many better scorers are there in the high school ranks when you combine size, ability to play inside, hands around the rim, shoot the ball? I mean, he's got to be.
Well, he's the number 7 point guard in the country right now. He'd be in the top 5.
Yeah.
If everything was together,
right.
He was dialed in and focused. Look at that body.
He knows how to use his body, finish, keep his chin on the rim.
He's had himself a real good quarter. He's dropped in 22 points here in the 4th.
I'm telling you, there just aren't, you know, shooters and scorers we talk about all the time. There's a difference. That kid is a scorer.
He's got great instincts for the game.
Absolutely.
I love the way he can play make, the ability to pass and find his teammates, and he gives it up quick. You know, he's not one of these guys who's pounding that ball into the ground, beating the leather off of it, as Coach Majerus would say.
Majerus said really smart things, and you were smart to listen to. But no, and the one thing you don't want to have to do with a player, you don't want to have to speed him up. You want to have to slow him down. And, you know, most kids, you got to speed up. Jaquan Lyle, you got to speed up a little bit. But if you can get the whole package, you're going to get a kid that's big, big, big time.
He's got a little Andre Miller in him. Thick body.
Yeah.
Well, scores with size and strength. Good instincts.
Nothing for Jeremy Tyler on that look. But a good one for the Ball State Cardinal next year.
Ball State has a terrific freshman class. Xavier Turner from Pike High School, Franco House from up in Fort Wayne. Good things happen at Ball State.
That's our ball game. Arsenal Tech 78, Huntington Prep 70. For Dan Dockich, Paul Biancardi, I'm Mike Cousins saying so long from Indianapolis. Now let's send it over to SportsCenter.